So in this video, I'm gonna go over the top 10 most worn fragrances in my collection. And before we start, if you want to support the channel, you can buy a sample at my store, scentpilot.com, and here's a code to save you money on your first order. Without any further ado, let's get into this video. So before we start, I know some of you may be thinking, well, Hamza, you have your own store, scentpilot.com. How do I know that the fragrances you're showing me are fragrances you've actually worn and not fragrances you sold a ton of? And that's a very fair question, so give me one moment. This is my personal bottle of Versace Per Homme, and you can tell that I barely have any left in the bottle. This is the one that I use for scentpilot.com, and this is the one that I recently bought for personal use. So I do keep my personal collection and my inventory from scentpilot.com separate. And now that we've addressed the elephant in the room, let's discuss fragrance number 1, Versace Per Homme. Now, the reason this is one of my most worn fragrances in my collection is because this was my signature scent at the gym. And I go to the gym 5 days a week, so you can imagine I wore this fragrance a ton. And I would also use it for other situations that don't require that much time, like going to the barbershop or doing some errands. This one here is pretty much a fresh and clean citrus aquatic fragrance. If you're familiar with Chanel Allure Homme Sport, this one smells very similar to that fragrance. It reduces the sweetness and it amplifies the freshness. And the great thing about this fragrance is you're able to find it for a steal of a deal. You go to any rack store, Marshall's, TJ Maxx, or Burlington, there's a very good likelihood that you're going to find this fragrance. I made a video recently on how to build the perfect fragrance collection using only 5 fragrances. And in category 3, I said you should buy an affordable fresh fragrance because it'll likely be your most worn fragrance in your collection, and this one here is a testament to that statement. So one of my most worn fragrances in my collection, Versace Per Homme. Number 2, Mont Blanc Legend Spirit. Currently, this is my most worn fragrance in my collection. As much as I love Versace Per Homme, I wanted to switch it up as of late as far as my gym fragrance, and this, in my opinion, is the greatest gym fragrance on the market. It smells like an expensive deodorant with a bubblegum sweetness. It just has a very energetic, lively, sporty undertone. And just like Versace Per Homme, you're able to find this one for a steal of a deal. Now, it's very difficult for me to show you how much I've worn this fragrance because the bottle is not see-through, but if you listen to the sound on this bottle, there's barely any fragrance left. One of my most worn fragrances in my collection, Mont Blanc Legend Spirit. Number 3, Bleu de Chanel Eau de Parfum. This at one point in time was my go-to office fragrance. Monday through Friday when I was working a 9 to 5, this was my go-to signature scent. Citrus and woody with a touch of class, and it offers that status element. When people compliment you on your fragrance, the follow-up question tends to be, what fragrance are you wearing? When you tell them you're wearing a Chanel, people perceive you as a man with taste and class. I also see this one as the one and done fragrance, meaning if you don't want to have more than one fragrance in your collection, this one here will cover all the bases. And I've interviewed thousands of women at this point in time, and one of the most common answers to the question, what fragrance do you like on a man, is Bleu de Chanel. Is there another men's fragrance you like you want to share with us we should know about?
Ooh, Chanel Blue.
Bleu de Chanel.
Or Chanel Blue.
Bleu de Chanel.
Yes.
Blue Chanel.
Bleu de Chanel.
Have you ever tried Chanel Blue?
Of course, Bleu de Chanel.
I like the Blue Chanel one.
One of my most worn fragrances in my collection and one of my go-tos for the office. Number 4, Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Eau Intense. I've said this in my other videos, but at one point in time, I was working 3 jobs at once. 9 to 5 for a construction company doing marketing, 6 to 11 in the evenings at Whole Foods, and on the weekends, I would work at Warby Parker. When I was working at Whole Foods, this was my signature scent, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I got one of the best compliments wearing this fragrance. I had one girl follow me down the aisles to ask me what this fragrance was so she could buy it for her boyfriend's birthday. It's clean, citrusy, and aquatic, and it's so easy to wear and extremely versatile. You're also able to find it for a steal of a deal. I once bought a bottle of this fragrance for $60 at Marshall's. At this point in time, this is one of my go-to summer fragrances. Every time I wear this fragrance, it gives me a cooling effect, like a placebo of lowering your temperature. So on extremely hot summer days, whether I'm going to the office or going out casually, this one right here is one of my go-to fragrances in that segment. And in my opinion, this is the one and done summer fragrance. One of my most worn in my collection, Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Eau Intense. Number 5, Acqua di Gio Parfum 2024. One of my most complimented fragrances in my collection. From 1 to 10, 10 being the best men's fragrance, what would you give this one as a score?
I feel like I would give it like a solid 9.
Solid 9.
Are you wearing it right now?
I am.
It smells good.
Smells
it's a
good.
nice, like, refreshing smell too.
Yeah.
No, this could be a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. I love it.
If I had a boyfriend, I would buy him this.
Somebody said that earlier as well.
Yeah, I don't, but I would.
Awesome. So the fragrance is going to be the brand new Giorgio Armani Acqua di Gio Parfum 2024.
Oh.
Yeah.
You smell good. He does smell good.
The reason I love Acqua di Gio Parfum 2024 is because it smells 95% similar to the discontinued fragrance Acqua di Gio Profumo, which is hailed as a legendary fragrance in the community. And fun fact, I own 7 backup bottles of this fragrance. Acqua di Gio Parfum 2024 pretty much smells like a reinterpretation of the most sold men's fragrance of all time, Acqua di Gio Eau de Toilette, which was my signature scent at one point in time. This fragrance takes that DNA, makes it more earthy and smokier with the addition of patchouli and incense. It comes off extremely classy and sophisticated. In my opinion, this is an amazing signature scent. It pretty much covers all the bases, and it's not as popular as some of the other designers on the market. One of my most worn fragrances, one of my most complimented fragrances, Acqua di Gio Parfum 2024. Number 6, Dior Homme 2020. While I was editing this video, I felt like something was missing, and it was this fragrance here. One of my most worn in my collection last year. This to me is the underrated Dior fragrance. A lot of people focus on Sauvage, rightfully so. It's a very polarizing, popular fragrance, but this one here does not get the credit it deserves. It smells clean, elegant, and classy, simple, but yet sophisticated. When I put it in a fragrance battle versus Dior Sauvage, this here was the winner, and when I took it to the streets, it got one of the best reactions we've seen on this channel.
If I met a guy at a club wearing that, I'd definitely flirt with him.
And just like Acqua di Gio Parfum 2024, this makes for an amazing signature scent. It has that status element you get from Dior. A fragrance that works in any situation, any occasion, any season, any reason, and it's going to be a unique offering because not many people are wearing this one. One of my most worn in my collection, Dior Homme 2020. Number 7, Prada Luna Rossa Ocean Eau de Toilette. One of my most worn fragrances last summer. It's so fresh, so clean, and so uplifting. It smells like you're fresh at the shower after using an expensive lemon soap bar with a touch of a caramel sweetness and some musk. This is currently my dumb reach fragrance, meaning when I don't know what to wear in my collection, this is the fragrance that I'm reaching for because it's so easy to wear from the gym all the way to the most professional settings. Extremely underrated, one of the best blue fragrances on the market. Only thing about this fragrance that I wish was a little bit better is the performance, but nonetheless, it's still one of my most worn fragrances. Number 8, Jean Paul Gaultier Le Beau Elixir. Now let me give you a bit of a backstory about this fragrance. When I was reviewing Jean Paul Gaultier Le Beau Parfum, I accidentally dropped this bottle and the atomizer broke. So I did end up using this one as my personal and on scentpilot.com because I simply wanted to get rid of it. But like I said earlier, this is the Scent Pilot inventory and this is for my personal collection. I do have the two separate at this point in time, but again, I did wear this one a ton. Plus I got it as a birthday gift. So I really wanted to make use out of it because it was a sentimental fragrance. It pretty much takes the core foundation of the original Le Beau, that mint, lavender, and vanilla combination, amplifies the sweetness with the addition of honey and tobacco. This has been one of my go-to fragrances during extremely cold winters here in New York because it offers beast mode performance. This fragrance will easily cut through the cold. Every time I would spray this fragrance on, remember the atomizer was messed up, it would literally fill up my entire office. One of my most worn fragrances in my collection, Jean Paul Gaultier Le Beau Elixir. Number 9, Tom Ford Noir Extreme Eau de Parfum. This is easily one of my signature scents during the cooler months. It's spicy, it's sweet, it's oriental, and it has a gourmand sweetness. You'll also have to give it credit because this is a very unique fragrance. Just like a lot of the Tom Ford offerings, they're very creative, innovative, and unapologetic. When I took this one out to the streets, it was getting back-to-back 10s. From 1 to 10, 10 being the best men's fragrance, what would you give it as a score? And I'll show you the bottle after.
10.
10 being the best men's fragrance, what would you give it as a score?
I'd say 10. I would wear this myself.
You know what? I'm gonna give it a 10. I'm gonna give it a 10.
I think that's the third 10 we got for this fragrance. Now keep in mind, this is a perfectly unisex fragrance where both men and women are able to wear this one equally. In fact, I had one group of women really like this fragrance that they decided to wear it themselves. One of my go-to fragrances in the winter time and one of my most worn fragrances in my collection, Tom Ford Noir Extreme Eau de Parfum. Number 10, you probably guessed it, Versace Eros. My most worn fragrance of all time and my most complimented. At this point, I own all the Versace Eros flankers, so pretty much when I say it's one of my most worn fragrances, it's a combination of all the flankers. And fun fact, Versace Eros is one of the most common answers to the question, what fragrance do you like on a man? Is there another men's fragrance you like that you want to share with us before I leave?
The Versace, the blue bottle. I love that one.
There's a Versace one I like the blue bottle.
Is it Dylan Blue, Eros?
Eros.
Eros?
The Versace ones are nice.
The Versace, I forgot what it's called.
Is it Eros?
Yeah.
If I was to ever make a video called 10 fragrances I would keep for life, this is easily number 1 because this was my signature scent at one point in time, one of my most complimented, and one that I share a ton of memories with. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video of my top 10 most worn fragrances in my collection. If you did, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below what video you want to see next, make sure to subscribe, and if you want to support the channel, you could buy a sample at my store, scentpilot.com, and here's a code to save you money on your first order. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.